So good morning. It's May 3rd. It's Monday. It's the first full week of May. We have a big day coming up, which is Wednesday. I don't know if you've noticed, but big energy days are usually falling on Wednesdays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but Wednesday seems to be a day of portal openings. So we have the 5-5 portal happening on Wednesday. What do you need to know about that? It's always the same thing right now, isn't it? It's kind of like all you need to know is who you are and continue acting from your heart space, take care of your body, take care of your energy, and it comes to you then, right? Whatever you need to actually do, like any physical steps or actions that for you personally, you'll know because you're in alignment. And when you're in alignment, you're in flow and you can receive the steady stream of messages that are always trying to come your way. So, I'll oversimplify that for you. You're welcome. Hi, Denise. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so first with the ducks. If you've been seeing a lot of ducks lately, and this is specifically ducks, geese had something else, but the duck felt important for you guys. So this is the ducks, seek out emotional comfort and protection. Stay in comfortable environments. Difficulties are easily handled. So good, right? So good. So the duck energy is really here to remind you about, again, what was our whole May energy forecast about, creating comfortable, safe space for you, for where you live, making sure you're in the right pot with soil that has the right nutrients, with the right kind of light coming in, making sure you're comfortable, protected, and safe when you are in recharge mode. So you always have your home to be safe and steady in. We are all creating our little nests to be safe and steady, and that's going to be very, very important. And so rolling in to self-definition, I did a little TikTok yesterday about it, and the idea of self-definition is pretty, it can be very general, but it also can be super specific as a way of really delving into why you think about yourself the way you are and how many aspects of your current self, your current thoughts, your current being have been defined by other people's perceptions of you or by their projections of their own self onto you. Everything we heard about ourselves as children, we had no real basis to reject, because when an adult tells you something about yourself, you don't know, right, that you can take it or leave it. That's not something you know as like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. You assume that all adults know a lot of things. We make a lot of assumptions about that as children. And you also assume that most adults or all adults, depending, would never tell you something about yourself that was untrue or even unkind. You haven't really figured that part out yet, right? We figure it out later. So that being said, a lot of the things that were in our inception soil, so to speak, that were planted with us, may not be things that are relevant to us at all, right? And not to say that those elements in our inception soil didn't help to put us down certain paths that we needed to tread. But now, as we're coming into our own self-awareness, self-definition will give you the ability to find those elements and realize or not realize, whatever it works for you, that you have control now over that narrative and you can rewrite a few things. So if you've been told something about yourself all your life by family members who truly don't see you the way you see yourself, the way your friends see you, the way the world sees you, oftentimes our family sees us very differently, right? Because there's so many lenses that they're looking through. If your family is viewing you in a certain way, and it cuts deep, because even though nobody else sees you that way, you just automatically assume because they're family, they must see something that nobody else sees. Self-definition gives you the power to go back and to say, all right, I see where that's coming from, and make a choice. Do I actually identify with that? Is that who I am? And if it's not, off you go. That's somebody else's definition. What's your definition? Who are you right now, today? Because I'll tell you what, If you are self-defining based off of, if I was self-defining based off of like Sarah 2.0, 3.0, 5.0, whoever, even like Sarah 3 years ago, if I was still defining myself by who I was 3 years ago, I would be real heavy, right? I would be paralyzed a lot of the times because some of the things that I feel, some of the things that I want to do are in direct conflict with how I felt about myself, how I defined myself a few years ago. So in order to allow myself to evolve and grow into who I am now, I've got to redefine who I believe I am. Because if not, I'm carrying such a heavy load of contradictory definitions that don't allow me to fully step into who I am right now, or make me feel like I'm some sort of an imposter in my own life, right? Because I'm not the same way that I was 5 years ago. For whatever reason, we do have that inside of us that we think there's a part of us that should stay the same, right? Consistent. We should be that way. We should hold those values our entire life. That's rough, isn't it? For beings who are constantly shifting and changing. Consider that you're made up of energy. Energy is not static. It's constantly bopping around, right? So even your skin isn't really actually solid. So your skin vibrating at a lower frequency than all the other energy is holding all of that magical energy inside in this form. But that energy is constantly transforming and moving around. So for you to say, I am this forever, is completely in contradiction to what you are in essence. You are always changing. Do you know what does stay the same? What can stay the same? What is consistent? Your heart space. That 100% can be your solid anchoring point, because this is where the love is. This is where the soul is. This is where your alignment is. So if you're touching base with this part of you and you're acting out of love for yourself and for others, you will always be a steady, consistent person. Not because of your belief systems, not because of what you choose to do or choose not to do. None of that. Only because your energy is going to be anchored in your heart center. And that is what we recognize in other people who we feel are safe for us, right? We give it all kinds of other definitions. We say, oh, I trust this person because she has a proven track record of being consistent in these different areas. But what we're actually saying is that this person's vibration is reverberating within my heart center. My heart center is connecting to their heart center, and we've decided that we trust this vibration, and that's all it is. So all of the talk around it, right, is just stuff that we do, right? These are constructs. These are society implants. This is the matrix, so to speak. We make such an interesting terrain to live upon, but we can also change that at any time. So stepping into your sovereignty, stepping into a more fifth dimensional way of interacting with energy simply means you stop being at the mercy of everything and start allowing yourself to manipulate the energy to make sense for you in the now moment. And you see me go like this. I'm twiddling my fingers because that's what I mean by manipulate. I don't mean manipulation in the way of psychologically twisting things around for your benefit. I literally mean you are affecting energy with your energy all the time, right? So self-defining will give you that, will give you the ability to let go of things that you don't even really believe about yourself anyway. Things that are so outdated, right? It's like looking in your closet and you have not cleaned out your closet for 15 to 20 years. And you've got stuff in there that you don't wear. And chances are it doesn't even really fit you. And in fact, keeping those things is kind of a buzzkill, right? Because let's say you take some of those old things out and you're like, well, this used to fit me, but it doesn't now. Why are you keeping it? Well, I'm going to fit back into it, right? Why would you, why are we going backwards? And if you do indeed, return to that shape at some point, how about you just get some different pants and not wear those old ones, right? Like, it's just such an interesting thing that we do. But imagine you haven't cleaned out your closet for 20 years and you've got, 2 decades worth of different fashions. You've got some things that you wore so much that they're super threadbare, but you're hanging on. You're hanging on to the old stuff. You're not giving yourself an opportunity to completely move into new energy with yourself because your closet is literally full of ancient history. So taking a moment to maybe go through that closet of all of your definitions, of all the definitions of other people, of that, crazy tie-dyed shirt that you don't actually like, but someone told you looks really good on you. Someone said it looks really good on you, so you started wearing it all the time because someone else said it looked good. You don't actually think it looks good. And even like right this moment, looking at it, you're like, I don't think so. But somewhere in your brain, someone told you it did, and you've carried that through and you wore that shirt a lot, right? So that became a part of your story. It's going back and looking at those things, getting that shirt and sending it on to Goodwill, right? Moving this energy out so that you can feel really free to start playing in the current energy, which allows for constant change and transformation without judgment. Because again, as long as you're here in this heart center, you can play with this energy. You can change every single day. Your heart is not changing. The way that you love is not changing, but your definition of self should be able to change all the time. And on the flip side of that, we have to be able to hold space for the people in our circles to do the same. Show the people who you love that it's safe for them to have different opinions, that it's safe for them to try new things that are completely out of their comfort zone, and that you won't judge them based on your previous experiences with them. There's some meme or saying that floats around all the time saying that, people in transformation are constantly changing. So whenever you meet somebody or whenever you're with somebody, you should assume you're kind of meeting parts of them for the first time. And that is not untrue. Think about who you are today versus who you are 6 months ago, right? Things change, and it can be really exciting how they change. And it can be really refreshing to meet people again and again and again. Because as long as this heart center is staying steady, you're meeting them again and again and seeing all of their different parts, and you will fall in love with them over and over again. Or maybe you won't, but mostly we do, right? Especially if we're being honest in that space. So can you hold space for those around you to also change, to clear out their closets, to try on new fashions, to say, here's me today and here's me tomorrow? Are you allowing that space for others and giving that grace to yourself? It's really, really important because the change is happening so fast, so very fast. I'm going to read this quote that Jean just put here on Facebook by Amit Ray. If you want to fly in the sky, you need to leave the earth. If you want to move forward, you need to let go of the past that drags you down. That's perfect. It's a perfect quote for today. So I want you to really think about that this week, because here's the other thing. You remember the cards we pulled for May energy, that Elven Queen is here. And the Elven Queen is like this dark undercurrent that's kind of coming through, and you can feel it approaching. It's kind of cold. And something is happening. Something is happening, and it is big, and it's coming. However, not everybody is going to experience this the same way, because I think you can already see we don't experience much the same way. We try to figure out how we all meet in the middle with shared collective experience, but if we've learned anything over the past year, it's that you can take a bunch of people, throw them into the same scenario, and everyone comes out with a completely different experience of that thing. It's gonna be like that. It'll be like pandemic 5.0, basically. Not the same ways of all the ways that just happened, but the same idea, the same concept, where something's gonna happen and everybody's gonna have a totally different experience of it. Some people come out of these experiences totally leveled up. Some feel crushed. It just all depends on how you're going to decide to process through and define it for yourself. And that's why I'm talking to you about self-definition right now, because once you start mastering that within yourself, you're able to expand that out to your shared understanding of what's going on in the collective. And then you start to apply those same principles to defining the other rings of your life that aren't just confined to your body and your own psyche, right? These things affect you too. Once you get comfortable with your own self-definition, you can start to apply it out. That's creation magic as well, okay? So as things start to ramp up, June, you will make a decision whether you're conscious of it or not. You will make a decision if you are going to be in a high vibration plane or you're not. And you being conscious of that now will ensure that you end up wherever it is you want. There's no right or wrong here, and that's also important, and there's no judgment. This is an experience you're choosing to have. Which one are you choosing to have? The danger is believing you have no choice. The danger is thinking that whatever the external stimulus is set and static and ground into the very fabric of reality and cannot be changed. That's a danger, because when you believe things in that kind of totality, then you make them your reality. So moving forward, how will you define? Will you let fear govern all of your decisions? Will you allow your anxiety to be the driving emotion in your life? I don't think you want that. But again, that may be where you're at, and it's okay. You don't have to feel bad about it. But being conscious that you are making the choice is what I'm saying is very important, because nothing outside of you is forcing it. But you can believe that. But nothing outside of you is forcing it. It's choice time. What is your experience going to be? Choose your own adventure. What are you going to put your energy into and cultivate in your small bubble? Because no matter how big and expansive your thoughts are, no matter how much you read about the world around you, watch the things, try to take in as much of a big, unbiased, encompassing view of what is happening everywhere, you simply can't. You cannot. You are not in any of those experiences. So unless you are in those particular bubbles, you don't physically know these things, right? What you do know is your bubble. What you can affect is your bubble. Can you trust that you making your bubble as delightful as possible has an effect on other people's bubbles? Can you trust it? Because really, that is the way that one person makes a huge difference, by making this tight and beautiful and joyful, and allowing others who touch the edges of your bubbles to get some of that lovely energy into their bubbles. And it's like telephone, right? They just keep moving that energy through, and it ripples out in huge, huge ways. So can you trust that instead of becoming overwhelmed by the fact that you can't change everything right now? So why even try? We can't fix the whole world, so why bother with this one thing? Right? How about we can fix this one thing, so let's bother and fix it, right? I can make this really good and really wonderful. Yeah, maybe I can't do something about that over there right now, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't do something about this right here. Make your environment feel good and safe for you, good and safe for your family. Have some fun. Stay light right here. This is going to be big. And as we move through this month, I'm sure more information will come through, but it's going to be big. So I'm excited to continue to tap in with you on that. Wednesday should be interesting. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a meditation activation on Wednesday morning to tap into that 555 portal, which should be fun. I have one card to pull from you from the Avalon deck just for today, because it's a Monday, you know? It's kind of a big deal. We're here another week. Planet Earth. So Here's your Monday card. It's the King. I'm happy to see him. How about you? The King's energy is, and it's also, this is number 3, so remember that. The King's energy is of pure divine masculine. And here's the thing that the King does that I think is very important to remember for today. The King looks at both sides of a situation and makes a non-emotional decision, okay? He's not looking at it from his emotional center. He's looking at it from his cerebral center. So he's saying, here's this, here's that. Where's the fair thing? What's the just thing? This action plus this action equals what? He's looking at it in that very impartial, non-judgmental way in order to make a judgment that is fair and best for everybody. So this is the divine masculine energy at its highest form because it is holding a space for justice to be created, for a fair, impartial decision to be made. This is also potent sexual energy. And this is the kind of energy that goes outward. So it's not inward, it's not hidden, it's very visible, right? So thinking about that for today, let me see if there's anything else on this card that I want to show you. Yeah, so thinking about that for today, it is number 3. So remember, number 3 is not the whole story, which makes total sense when talking about the King, because you don't have the King without the Queen that balances this energy. The Queen will come in at some point and bring her emotional intelligence to the floor. But for right now, we're leaning into the male side of things, and we're looking at things for reasoning, logic, justice, and fairness. So use those as your keywords today. What's fair, what's not fair, what's impartially able to be viewed without emotions clouding the way, okay? So there you go. I hope you have an amazing Monday. I'm sending y'all lots of love. Restoration members, you will be getting your newsletter shortly. I'm waiting on a few things before I set them in type, but just so you have these dates, May 11th, Tuesday, is our new moon call. May 25th, also a Tuesday, I think, is our full moon call, which is also a total lunar eclipse. Why not, right? We have plenty to talk about after that, because after that total lunar eclipse and after we move into Gemini season on the 20th, actually, we have a lot of crazy shit happening. So, why not? So we'll talk about that later. That's not this week, but put those dates on your calendar. You'll get your newsletter soon. If you are not part of Restoration and you'd like to join and be in the full moon calls with us and the new moon calls with us and all of the other perks, join. It's free for your first month. Use code ACTIVATE. I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'll see you on Wednesday morning. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and follow.